Let's be honest, in the world of education right now, you can't really escape the topic of AI. So today we're going to dive into how tools like Microsoft Copilot are changing the game for writing tutors, and maybe more importantly, how we can all use them responsibly and, actually effectively. Okay, so we all know AI can generate text. That's kind of old news at this point. But our job isn't to just produce a document, it's to develop writers. So the real fundamental question we have to tackle is this: can these incredibly powerful tools actually help us teach the craft of writing? So where do we even start? Well, the most important rule of thumb is this: pedagogy before pixels. It just means that our teaching philosophy, what we believe about how students learn, has to be in the driver's seat. The technology is just the vehicle. Our pedagogy is the map that tells it where to go. Before we even think about opening Copilot, we have to ground ourselves in what truly matters. We always start with what we call higher order concerns. The big picture stuff. Is the thesis clear? Does the whole thing hold together? Does the argument actually make sense? This is where the real learning happens. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because it helps us to find our roles. The AI, it's a fantastic assistant. Seriously, it can spot grammar patterns or summarize a paper's structure in seconds. But the tutor, that's you, is the teacher. Our job is to ask those smart, guiding questions, to protect the student's unique voice, and to focus on developing the writer as a person, not just fixing the writing on the page. Okay, so we've got our philosophy down. Pedagogy first. But what does that actually look like in the real world? Let's walk through a practical, AI-assisted workflow for a tutoring session to see how this all comes together. Our workflow is pretty straightforward. Really, just 4 steps. We start with the big picture, those higher-order concerns. Then we can use the AI to quickly spot those smaller, granular patterns. Step 3 is the most important part, adding our uniquely human feedback. And we wrap it all up by creating a clear revision plan that the student can actually own and use. So for that first step, reviewing the big picture, AI can be a massive time saver. You can ask Copilot for a quick summary of the paper structure. And what that does is it frees you up to immediately focus on the critical stuff instead of getting totally bogged down in the weeds right away. And this is a perfect example of how to do it right. Notice how specific this prompt is. You're not asking it to fix the paper or make it better. No, you're asking it to be an analytical assistant, to give you a summary, which keeps the student's original work and your role as the teacher right at the center of everything. Right, so after the AI gives you that quick lay of the land, we get to the part where the real magic happens, our human feedback. This is where we go from just analyzing to actually teaching. The whole goal is to write comments that empower the student to think for themselves, to solve their own writing challenges. And that always begins with seeing what the student is doing well. An AI can't give genuine praise, but a simple, specific, positive comment like this, it builds the confidence and the trust that are just so crucial for real learning to happen. This right here, this is the absolute heart of great tutoring. Instead of just telling them the answer, you ask a question that guides them. It prompts them to do the thinking, to make that connection on their own. That's the light bulb moment. That's how they really learn and grow. Okay, so we've seen how AI can really boost our teaching. But this is the point where we have to talk about the really serious stuff. This is the non-negotiable part of the conversation. How to use these tools safely, ethically, and in a way that protects student privacy. Always. And this all comes down to one really important acronym, FERPA. It's a federal law that protects the privacy of student records. And you have to remember, anytime you're looking at a student's paper, you are handling protected data. We have a legal and an ethical duty to keep that information secure, period. So this is probably the most critical takeaway on the security side. Not all versions of Copilot are the same. The one built into your school's Microsoft 365 account is covered by your institution's security agreements. The public, consumer version you just find on the web, it is not. You should never, ever, ever pay student work into a public AI tool. And here's why that matters so much. Inside that secure M365 environment, Microsoft contractually agrees that your prompts and the student's work are not used to train their big public AI models. That data stays private. It stays inside your institution's secure digital walls. So let's just be crystal clear. These are the absolute downs. These are the hard lines. Never paste student work into public tools. Never use AI to spit out a grade or feedback. And for sure, never use it to rewrite or create new content for a student. That crosses a whole bunch of ethical, pedagogical, and security lines all at once. Whew, okay, that was a lot of really important information on both the teaching side and the security side. To make it super easy to apply, let's just boil all of this down into a simple, responsible AI checklist you can run through before every single tutoring session. Your checklist is just 4 simple steps. 1. Always work inside your secure M365 account. 2. Protect privacy by keeping any personal info out of your prompts. 3. Remember the AI's job. It's there to support your process, not to do the writing. And 4. Always end with a plan that the student owns, putting them right back in the driver's seat. Because at the end of the day, this is what it all comes back to, right? We're not here to just fix one paper. We are here to help students build the skills, the confidence, and the critical thinking that will make them better writers for the rest of their lives. So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. Now that you have this incredibly powerful new assistant, how are you going to use it in your own practice to build better writers, not just better papers?